Hey everybody, it's Mr. Roy here. I'm going to take you through a quick little description of how you can access some data through a really incredible resource called Statcan, which is Statistics Canada. It's their website and has a huge amount of data that's available at our fingertips. So if you're one of the people for our culminating assignment who's not choosing to actually do some experimenting to collect your own data, and instead you'd rather get data from a source, the kind of data we wouldn't be able to collect for this class, this is a possible way to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to look for Statistics Canada and see what I can find on the old Google machine. So it looks like here we go, statcan.gc.ca, and I'll click that, and it's going to take me to the Statistics Canada website. You might have to tell it what language you want. I've already visited here before, so it knows I'm looking to do this in English. Okay, so the thing I'm interested in finding here is the button here at the top that says data. Now if I just click that, it's going to take us to a page where we can see all of the amazing data that's available on the StatsCan website. If I look over here, I see tables. I've got 9,014 tables, and that's all different data tables that I could use. But I don't want to sit here and sift through 9,000 different tables. That seems crazy. So instead, I've got here on the left a whole bunch of different subject areas that I could click on that's going to narrow down my search a little more. Now, if I knew something I wanted to search for, I could just type it into the search box here, and I might come up with something that I want. I know that household spending is one that you can find a lot of information on. So I've tried that one before. So I'm going to type in household spending and just do a little search for it and see what I can come up with. I find that with household spending, now I've narrowed it down from 9,000 to 834 tables. That's still a lot of tables. But if I scroll through here, I bet I could find some pretty interesting stuff about how consumer spending has changed over time. I see household spending by household type. I see income statistics by economic family type and income source, but I think the one I want to look at here is right here at the top called Household Spending, Canada, Regions, and Provinces. So I'm going to click on that, and this is going to give me a nice little data table here. So I've got a whole bunch of different things that people might spend money on, like private transportation, healthcare, shelter, uh, clothing and accessories, all this kinds of stuff. And I've also got years that people have done it, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let's say I want, though, to find more data on this. I don't want to do 2013. I want to go back as far as I can. So I can actually go back as far as 2010. And looks like I can't go any farther forward than 2017. So I'm going to hit apply. And I'm going to see what this gives me. Aha! Now I have this new data table here. We can see total expenditures seems to be going up mostly year after year. In fact, it doesn't look like it goes down at any point, which I'd probably expect from normal inflation, which you may or may not know about. But I kind of expect that that's going to keep going up and up and up. But maybe it wouldn't, right? There might be some surprises in the data. So maybe that's the data I want to have. Now, if I want to just know total expenditures, my two variables would be the year up here, and the year would be my independent variable, right? That's the thing that it's not an unknown. I'm not like, oh, what's it going to be? I know I'm choosing the years on purpose. So time is very often your independent variable. The thing that I don't have control over, I just want to measure it and see what it is our total expenditure. That would be my independent variable. So time is my X, my total expenditures would be my Y on my graph. And maybe I want that particular data. I could add or remove data if I'm finding that there's like just too much on there. And I could say, okay, I can do household categories. I can actually like, if I look at this, there's all these different categories. I can get rid of a bunch of them if I didn't want to have them all in there. And geography, maybe I just want to only look at Ontario. So let's look at our list here and let's just do Ontario, and we'll get rid of Canada and we'll apply. And now we should get a new data table that is just going to be Ontario. And again, I want to stretch this out a little bit and see all the way to 2013. So if I want to go back to reference period here, that's one of the things I can change. It showed up automatically in the beginning. If I want to change it again, I got to go back. So let's again do 2010 to 2017 and click apply. And now I've got household spending in Ontario from 2010 to 2017. And maybe I just want to look at something uh, like rented living quarters, or I just want to look at shelter, costs of shelter that people spend and see how that's changed throughout the years. Or maybe I want to look at communications and see how what people are spending on communications has changed. Or I don't know, maybe I want to see what people's spending on healthcare, how that has changed. That's a number that hasn't just continued to go up, it fluctuates a bit. So lots of cool and interesting stuff there. And interesting stuff about gambling here too. Gambling seems to be fluctuating a fair bit too. Um, or education costs, that might be something of interest to you. Now let's say, okay, that's pretty cool, but I don't actually want any of those. Let's go back to data and just start from scratch. I actually just want to look through my options here. Um, I'm kind of interested in language, so I'm going to click on languages and I'm going to see what I've got here. I've got almost 500 tables under languages. And one of them it says here, the first one that pops up is number of students in Indigenous language programs, public elementary and secondary schools by program type. Well, that's pretty cool because I have an interest in Indigenous language courses and how that's changing to preserve Indigenous language. So I'm going to click on that because I'm kind of interested in that one. And I'm going to see what I can find. Okay, so our years here are a little funky because our years for school go over the new year. They're written as 2014/2015, for example. So here I've got my data. Let's see how far back this one goes. It goes back all the way to 2005, 2006. So let's get that value on there. And let's see, as far as forward I can go is 2018, 2019. Okay, cool. So now I have a lot of information here. There seems to be a lot of stuff I might not need. I'm most interested in Ontario. So let's add or remove some data. And we're just going to have a look at Ontario and see what that can bring us. Okay, seems to be having a little bit of trouble here. Let's see if I can refresh and get my page I need. Aha, here we go. Okay, so let's have a look at everything. I'm going to get rid of all the options here. And I just want to have a look at Ontario. So now I'm going to see what that's going to show me. And looks like here's my Ontario data. Now I got one category here that's not really helpful, Indigenous language immersion programs. Looks like there's none of those. So I'm actually going to get rid of that category under program type and click apply. And now I should have a nice little bit of data. And I want to go for my reference period back as far as I can to 2005, 2006. Okay, now I've got this nice little data set, which is really interesting. It's showing me how these things are changing over the years and showing me some changes in the data. I want to get this data. I'm going to work with this data. So I'm going to click download options, and it's going to give me some options. Now, when you download one of these files, you can open this in Microsoft Excel. You can open this in a spreadsheet program. And from there, we can graph it, manipulate it, and do whatever we want with it. So this is CSV, stands for comma separated values. It's just a way of storing the data, but it's a method of storing it that can be opened in a spreadsheet program. Okay, so I think I just want to do a basic CSV file, and I'm going to open it when it's done, and this is going to open it in my spreadsheet program. So I'm going to move my spreadsheet program over. Here's my data. And there's a whole bunch of footnotes and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of cool, I guess, but for now I'm just kind of interested in my data. So I think what I'm going to do is I want to try graphing it. So I'm actually going to graph it, I'm going to get rid of this column by right-clicking and then hitting delete that's in between here. If I was having some problems, I may actually just like re-type out all my data and type it out down the page with the year in my X column and the student enrollment in the Y column. But I'm going to see if it'll graph it from here. So I'm just going to grab my data like this, and then I'm going to put it into a graph, and I'm going to go from there. Now I'm going to actually show you how to do the graphing in a separate video. So I'm going to stop here. now that I've shown you how to use Statcan, and graphing will appear in the video that I'll show you next.